Chairman, I do want to echo your comments on the panel's hard work, and I want to thank you all for coming and getting engaged in this issue. And as Dr. Zapol indicated, when I was in high school, I wanted nothing more than to go to Antarctica. So one point of validation for that. There was some of your testimonies quite concerning, almost alarming. Mr. Augustine, you sort of were indicating the dilapidation of many of the facilities there, and then Dr. Suresh, I think, mentioned operating under multiple single points of failure. What's the worst case scenario we're talking about? Are people's lives at risk that work in the Antarctica?
So, first of all, as pretty much every panel member suggested here, the National Science Foundation, in partnership with other agencies, for more than half a century has had a phenomenal record of safety in running the U.S. Antarctic program, and I want to emphasize that. So I think the spirit of the recommendations, and my distinguished colleagues can speak for the report, which I cannot speak for, the spirit of the recommendation is that there is a potential, if we don't address and improve the logistics. For example, having access to Antarctica to supply fuel is so critical. So if you don't have the right ice-breaking capabilities, that will potentially lead to severe loss of investments for the future. Not having a capital budget is one of the biggest recommendations. So it's in that spirit. Some of the recommendations, like the dishwasher and the McMurdo, which feeds a number of people, we take it very seriously. And it's not that, if you look at historically, NSF has done a very good job. We will look at each of these recommendations and as quickly as possible try to address to see if we can improve the situation.
Well, one of the things that keeps coming up is a small fraction of money that goes to science as opposed to logistics. Is part of that because of the dilapidated state of the logistics? If the logistics were improved, could more money go to science, to real science?
I think the answer to that is without question. That could be the case. If you took the one recommendation we made that produces the highest savings after the initial investment, in the steady state, it alone could add 60 typical grants to the science effort. So there is a huge opportunity here.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the foreign presence or the risk to American leadership in the Antarctic. We clearly have, the United States clearly has the largest presence in Antarctica. What would be the risk if other countries were to come in and co-dominate that presence? General McNabb?
Well, I think our leadership on the Antarctic, along with all the other nations that have signed the treaty, has really been superb. And the ability to preserve this place on our Earth in a time when science is going to be so important is going to be critical. I'm not sure that if we were not there and taking the leadership role, I'm not sure how fast, given what you see happen around the world and really the competitive, the competitive competition for resources, that you would end up seeing the Antarctic be what it needs to be for the world. And that would be my take.
Anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah, I would welcome the opportunity. I think you could consider both the missions in Antarctica with regard to the political implications. There are overlapping claims that you're well aware of that have been made by 7 different countries. And there's, I think, good evidence that the United States presence there, and particularly the presence at the pole, has led to a very peaceful Antarctica. And as there's more and more exploration in that area, that will become more of a challenge, I believe. With regard to science, the United States has given up its lead in things like particle physics that it's had for years. It would be a shame to see us give up our lead in another area. I also find a certain irony that this committee probably has recognized that today we can't reach our space, I say the International Space Station, in which we pay for a major part, without flying on Russian launch vehicles. Similarly, we can't get to Antarctica without using today Russian icebreakers. And that's a trend that probably is not something that a great nation would want to have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I concede my time.